Hey, friends and family, I'm back, and it's an evening. It's Sunday evening, and I'm going to attempt to just chat through this stack because it's getting big, and I want to put it away. And actually, if you've been chatting with me or following my posts, because mostly what I like to do is post the pictures of the records and kind of, "Ooh, look at this, talk a little bit, but on Facebook, if you've been with me on Facebook this week, and you'll see, I'm just going to show you what I've been playing, because I've been posting it. But you actually had a bit of a revelation on my last video about Edgar, I still don't know, Mr. Tangerine Dream. Someone pointed out to me, and this is a revelation, I'm going to tell the story, this is the truth, that, I played you the track off of this version of Nice, the vinyl version, which has the melting on it, which was very much inspired by listening to Tangerine Dream. When I picked out the font for this album back in the 2000s, it never occurred to me about Tangerine Dream. But I did look, and the fonts are very similar. Now, the reason why I can back up the fact, the fact that it never occurred to me when I was choosing, because again, when I picked this cover for my album, it was very much about economics, but I wanted simplicity, but to imply taste and class. And that was the idea behind me deciding that I liked this font. It was probably subconscious, as far as where I had seen it before. But the other reason why I can say that that's true is because the original version of the album came out on CD in 2001, and the melting wasn't on it. I put the melting on this when I retracked this for vinyl, because all these tracks wouldn't fit on one album, and the melting wasn't originally on it. So I just wanted to share that. That was like kind of cool. It's like, wow, subconsciously subconsciously, I guess, but it certainly wasn't conscious that I was thinking about Tangerine Dream when I said it. Listening to a lot of music, so many things run through my head. It seems like I wanted to just be like a news reporter, but the last thing I just played, and it has to do with something I saw on Facebook, is some Gil Scott-Heron, The Mind of Gil Scott-Heron. Poet, call him a poet. Yeah, he wasn't a rapper, he was a poet. And a good example of a human being who you don't judge people's art by the content of their lives so much. I mean, it's like he, like many of us, had a self-destructive streak, but what he says on these albums and in his poetry is just so on point, even now. And he's talking about the Black American experience, and there's just a lot about it that we have to keep saying over and over again, but it's like it doesn't want to be heard by, the mainstream or whatever, Excellent. Before that, I was getting into all kinds of I won't say the word, German music, and Canterbury, and electronic, which led me to pulling out Ryuichi Sakamoto B2 Unit. I haven't played this album in ages. Andy Partridge of XTC actually plays on this album, and Riot in Lagos was kind of a hit off of this for Sakamoto. Not in America. Cool album. Angular. A bit of an angular album for him. Interesting how they spelled his first name with an I. I've seen that variation on the spelling of his name a few times, but it's usually R-Y. But speaking of excellent German music, I was listening to Harmonia, Musik von Harmonia, members of Neu and Cluster. This is just one of my favorite albums. Watusi, the first song on here, hypnotic. And I love that cover too. Just simple. I just love it. Before that, Deerhoof, who are going to be coming through on tour next month. I hope to see him, with luck, might be opening of Montreal and Deerhoof. Wouldn't that be nice? But Runners 4, in particular, there's a song in here where they do this thing that ends up sounding just like Faust. Really good band. Classic German meditative spiritual space music, Popol Vuh. This is their first album Affenstunde. Been having quite a conversation online about German music, which was sprung off of the death of Edgar Froese. I don't know. This is an original German pressing. These are collectible, and I bought this from a private collector. Classic example. Friend that I had young after high school, big into collecting till he met a woman, got married, started having kids, and that's the end of that. Of course, that doesn't happen to all people, but this was a classic example because he was way into collecting, and then it completely changed, and that's fine because happy man. In den Garten Pharos. This is the first one that I heard, and I used to have an original on pills that was given to me by my high school friends that turned me on to this. And I just got it so soon, not really valuing what I had, and just all sort of other reasons. But luckily I was able to get this reissue, which is actually on PDU out of Italy. This is so fantastic. Popol Vuh. In the Garden of the Pharaohs. Was listening to a bit of a darker thing, actually, for a bit tonight. Present. Triskaidekaphobia. And this involves members of Universe Zero. And it has that kind of chamber-like, but also Zool quality. The percussion work on this is always so awesome. This is an original on Atem Records. Now, I was saying I should probably ought to do a separate video. I think I will, but this was sent to me by these guys. The God in Hackney, Cave Modern, and this is Andy. I may do 2 videos because just to feature this. Thank you so much for sending this to me. This is. It took me a couple listens. At first, it was kind of like what, and then it's like whoa, okay, this is cool, and that's not really the right word for it. Bit of a concept album, it turns out. Kind of like modern caveman, but it doesn't even need that to work as a concept. It is primal. It was like even before I went to on the orange vinyl, nice. Even before I went to the website to find out more about the album and the guys, interesting group of artists who have backgrounds, In particular, it turns out I had heard of Nathaniel Mellors with his animatronics. Wow. But anyway, no, this is... before I read about that, the way it started to come through to me was to just let go. And then it was almost like entering into like a separate universe, almost like kids do when you're good friends and you're young and you hang out a lot and you kind of create this space of your own. And that's when it's kind of started to come through. I'll keep going, actually. I will post a link to this to you, Andy. Andy Cook, who is behind this, as well as Nathaniel Mellors. On the B side, it's like they reference, I don't even know what's the right word, but they're doing this song, and the next thing you know, there's this reference to Peter Gabriel's Games Without Frontiers, but it's like, but not. And it's just really cool. The God in Hackney, Cave Modern. This is new. This just came out. This is brand new. 2014, so it just came out on Junior Aspirin Records. That's who sent this to me. They sent me another album. The other one I got to listen to more because that one hasn't made an impact yet. But this has. I'll leave a link to their website. So yeah, this is me doing my thing here. Yeah. Thanks for sending this to me. I love it when people send me records, but I love it even better when I get stuff I never heard of and I really like it. This is really good. God in Hackney. Okay. This reminds me of someone who used to be in the BC and isn't anymore. Life changes, but he sent this to me, among other things. And this is Martin DeClear, So Close Yet So Far Out. When he first sent it to me, I didn't really like this. Martin was in the band Legendary Pink Dots, among others, and this is kind of like... it really just struck me at first as being really self-indulgent without really having a lot of substance. But coming back to it now and listening to it with the graphics in mind, it works better. It's still not something like I would say, oh man, you gotta have this. But it's kind of cool. And I'll bet you if I, did it listen to this in an altered state, psychedelic state, it might even be more different. It might come through even more. Talked about this, played this again, A Tab in the Ocean, Nectar, great. Some 10 inches I have out that I was listening to. I love the Japanese band Boris. And I have this split 10 inch that they did with Stupid Babies Go Mad, Damaged. And this is, both sides are really good. The Stupid Babies Go Mad is a punk band. Really interesting picture disc vinyl. Looks like the record is broken. Neat. Another 10 inch I have out that David Horowitz, Sequoia Flame, hipped me to this because I didn't know that it existed. It's a 10 inch live release by Faust with Omar Rodriguez Lopez from Mars Volta and formerly at the Drive-In. And this is good. This is Faust and Omar live at Clouds Hill. And this is nice. It's a 10 inch on white vinyl. David, if you see this, again, I appreciate that you let me know about this because it's like, yeah, Faust is a band that I like to try to collect, and I had to get it. More progressive rock, or whatever you want to call it, the rock in opposition school. Ferdinand Richard, this is a solo. He was the bass player in a band called Etran Foulée de Blanc, which I think roughly, I don't know what it translates to, something like mad shit or something. This is called En Avant. I don't speak French, and so the voice and all the text with these songs is just, again, it's like another instrument for me, and it works in that way. I don't know what he's talking about, but this music is just not easy to describe, and it doesn't sound like just typical rock, and that alone keeps me listening. But it has a flavor, and his bass playing is interesting. Ferdinand Richard. I had mentioned this, Tangerine Dream, and I just played it. Kaleidoscope, the Tangerine Dream album. Great English pop. Got more records here, though, that I haven't talked about, so let me go. I showed the... yep. Okay. On another Canterbury tip, Khan, Space Shanty. Dave Stewart, who was in the band's Egg, Hatfield in the North, National Health, Stewart and Gaskin. This is an early band of his with Steve Hillage on guitar, who was in Gong, and then after that, the techno thing that he does, System 7. But this is great prog rock. It rocks and it progs at the same time. My copy is a French pressing, Kingdom Records. This is a 1980 pressing of Robert Wyatt's initial solo album, In the Veneer. Now, I didn't play this, but I'll show it to you because I had it out talking about it online. And this is kind of a hard ride to listen to. It's improvisational, and you got to be in the mood because otherwise it'll kind of strike you as like, this is just kind of jacking around. But you can get caught up in it too because all the musicians are doing a lot of different things. A lot of things going on while Robert Wyatt seems to be kind of like just going off the top of his head. This is cool. I listened to one of my own releases My band, this is a band that I'm in Dreama. I released this on my own label in 2012 in conjunction with Bright Eyes label Team Love in Dreama. And this is the purple vinyl edition. I did a limited edition of this, 100 copies on purple, and the rest on black. I've been sold out for a while, but I got distribution on this. So this is one of my albums that you can find in independent record stores around the world, actually. People have shown me pictures of seeing this in stores in Europe and stuff. This is good. It's very cinematic and psychedelic. You know, it's about a breakup, really. You know, but the cover really captures it. I'm really pleased to be a part of this band and on this album, plus having released it in Dreama. Also on the prog tip, I was just talking about Dave Stewart. I listened to this, Egg, the band that I think this was right after Khan. This is just the shit. Classical, keyboard-oriented, progressive three-piece that jams. And this is an original on Duram Nova. One of my favorites. Okay. Christian Industrial. I just this is something I was able to get cheaply many years ago, and maybe I got it for like a dime. Seriously, brand new. And I was intrigued to hear it because of the involvement of Ivo Cutler, not Ivor Cutler, but Ivo Cutler, and this still works. It's got an undercurrent of Christian messaging in the words, but it's harsh music. And there's a dead rabbit on a cross, and this caused, I guess, apparently a bit of a stir when it came out because people misunderstood their intentions with the cover. We Will Fight Back. Interesting album. Interesting. I don't know if I talked about this, but this is one that's part of my psychedelic collection. This is a reissue, but it's one I'm glad to really have. Agua Turbia. Mexican. I believe they're from Mexico. And it's got kind of that bluesy edge, but it's really edgy. I'm not seeing the woman's name. It's probably on the inside book. But I believe this is early 70s. Agua Turbia, their second album. Hard psych, hard bluesy rock psychedelic rock. Bo Grumpus, Before the War, produced by Felix Pappalardi, who was the bass player in Mountain, also Cream's producer. This album is really good. It's got a lyrical sound. It's like I was listening to it and some of it sounded a bit like Jefferson Airplane almost, but with male vocals. And this is psychedelic, though. It's pop, psychedelic pop. This came out in what, 1969? 1968. And this is an original. Before the War, Bo Grumpus. I recommend this. Black Moth Super Rainbow. Don't know much about this band. I've missed them when they've come to Omaha. They've been to Omaha several times. But I finally picked up some of their records, and I just really like their sound. They use the vocoder, but the way they use it, it sounds like the record looks. They use the vocoder in their sound in a way, not overly so, but they sound like this to me. This vinyl and a lot of their graphics perfectly fit the sound of the band. Like them a lot. I think Tim Guthrie turned me onto this band, the artist that did my artwork for my album Flyover. Peter Blegvad, who was in the band Slap Happy, this is one of his solo albums. The Naked Shakespeare, produced by Andy Partridge of XTC. Again, I can't remember if I mentioned this or not, but it's still down here, so that's why I'm thinking I haven't mentioned it. But this is, I mean, if you like XTC, it doesn't sound like that, but this is just really intelligent music with elements of pop, jazz, and his word, the way that he uses words, does catch my attention. You know, I was just thinking that I do read, but I don't read a whole lot of like stuff that maybe I forget things, but there's a lot that I haven't read that maybe you're supposed to read. And I do think that there's times, like for example, there'll be conversations going on online and people will post up memes and little quotes from movies and I don't quite get it. And you know, it's like I just don't feel bad about not getting some of these popular culture references that maybe most people seemingly get. That came to mind to me while talking about this because I listen to a lot of music and I'm listening to the music in a holistic way. It's not about the words for me. The words come later, sometimes they don't come at all. But the way that Peter Blegvad writes and sings draws attention to his wordsmith. He's a wordsmith. Yeah, this is a good album. When I went and did some trading recently and got those two albums I showed recently that I got from Almost Music, Brad was really nice to me and gave this to me. It's Charles Mingus Jazz Workshop, Stormy Weather, double LP on Barnaby. And the reason why I gave it to me is because it's just ever so slightly warped, but warped enough to the point that he didn't feel that's what kind of scruples he has. It's like he has high quality standards. It's a good record shop. And he said, I don't feel good about selling this. And I was just saying to him, well, what's going to happen to it? Well, it's probably just going to sit back here and I'll play it in the store. I said, well, please? And he said, sure. And he gave it to me. And it plays fine. You hear the it doesn't jump, but you hear the warp at the beginning of a couple sides. But this is a double album. I can never have enough Charles Mingus. And another one I got in my trade, which there was a different Gil Evans that I was wanting to get, but Mike called my attention to this one, and then he basically gave it to me. You know, Gil Evans plays the music of Jimi Hendrix. And some of this to me is like just, I love Gil Evans, but this is exactly what I'm not going to listen to. But he's got amazing players in his orchestra on this album. And this was his orchestra back. This came out in 1974. Some of you people will know these names. John Abercrombie, Bruce Ditmas, Peter Gordon, Billy Harper, David Horowitz, Howard Johnson, Ryo Kawasaki, Peter Levin, Tom Malone, Marvin C. Peterson, Warren Smith Jr., David Sanborn, Lou Soloff, all in one band in his orchestra. So the way that they perform this music, is top notch. I haven't played the whole thing yet, so I probably need to hear. There's probably an arrangement on here that I'm going to really like. Almost done here, and since I'm going to let this load overnight, I'm just going to keep going until I'm done. Another album I got for trade is Mark Isham, film music on Windham Hill. And this was in his $2 bin, so I got it for basically, a buck. Mark Isham, trumpet player, motion picture composer, tasteful music. Some of the best stuff for my taste on the Windham Hill label, which they must have gotten a whole lot of money when they came out because of George Winston or somebody. They had some kind of commercial success, and with the influx of money, I'm kind of assuming or thinking back because of how it works, they were able to just release just a shitload of records. A lot of it really like wallpaper music, and then they put out stuff like this that's just better. playing this recently, thinking I was going to trade it, but I'm going to keep it. Foals. Life Forever? Total Life Forever. Mine's on blue vinyl. They kind of remind me of Talking Heads a little bit. There's enough good songs on here that it's like, yeah, this band is cool. That's good. Another one that I was thinking, well, I haven't listened to this for a while. Man, this is great. Espers. Espers 2. Man, this is great. Folk, that mystical kind of gothic folk in a way. I guess is how I'd call it. I love it. Some Brazilian music. And this is on the jazz side, kind of commercial jazz, how I call it. But this is really good. Cesar Camargo Mariano and CIA. Brazilian pressing of the album too. Mostly instrumental, really nice up-tempo, bright compositions, really well played. This person I'm sure has a reputation I don't know about, not being from Brazil. Cesar Camargo Mariano. I love it. Okay, and I think that is it. Okay. So I've finally gone through the entire pile down here. And just a quick reminder, if you're still with me, I still have records for sale. I need to not be shy about this. I need to be in business. This is my primary life. Murphy, my latest album, I just released this in November of 2014 as the result of a fundraiser, back photograph of rusted, I forget what it is, taken by another VC member, Jeff McLennan, glowing 00 cabbage. He just had his video where he showed his son Huxley. That's our collaboration. This is really good. It's online. I've got it for sale though, and limited edition, all numbered. I got about maybe 85, 90 copies left. And then the album that I released at the beginning of last year, about this time last year, or coming up in February, I released Fly Over, which again is kind of like they're all my babies, but like this one was like a real labor of love. Silver foil lettering. Tim Guthrie did a kick-ass 4AD type artwork for me, including the logo. My logo, I have my own logo which I use, but for this one we did a pastiche of 4AD with DVH. So I love 4AD. Full color inner sleeve. Tim just did me right. And this album is good. Both of these albums are really good. Splatter vinyl, baby. This is in an edition of 500. They're not numbered, okay? But I've still got this for sale. I don't have, an infinite number, obviously, but I'll leave the links, folks. And also, perhaps because of me playing it in my last video, I got a sale of Nice. So I'll be mailing this off to the person that bought a copy of this. This is still for sale. And on my page, my blog page, when you have to scroll down and then click where it says go to older posts to find the ordering part for this. But I'll leave a direct link below the video for this as well. I'm showing you all this good music, and the music that I make is as good as this music that I'm showing you in my own way, in my own style of what I'm doing. My music is on par with all these records that I'm showing you. Now here's another one I have out that I haven't played, but I'm going to play Morgan Delt. Someone gave this to me not too long ago. I really like this, psychedelic. But, my music is on par with Morgan Delt, everything I showed here, and that's not I'm not saying it from ego, I'm saying it from ear. All right? A half hour, straight up.